Hi everyone, and welcome to another weekly connection. So I'm inside because the wind is up, and as you all know, it wreaks havoc with my mic. So we decided to do it inside, even though it's a beautiful day today. So here we are, brought to you by Serapis Bay, Lady Portia, Jaculin, Lord Katumi, Mahay, I know. Anyway, a bunch. I give up after that. All right. Because, what we want to talk about today is extremely important in that we want to talk about how the heart dissolves duality. And that I have notes, and that we are the cosmic ray to unity consciousness. So Serapis wanted to talk about this because he is Lord of the fourth ray, your fourth chakra, your heart energy. So he's very important here. And he was, I never say these Greek and Persian and Egyptian names correctly, but he was Leonidas, who was the Spartan king who sent his men and he into war on a kind of a suicide mission. But what it did was inspired his the Greeks, to not allow themselves to be overthrown by the Persians, and opened up the golden age. So he wants to talk about it. I'm wearing my goddess pendant for the Ukraine today because it's about that. It's about the heart and the light even in the darkness. And it's certainly, remember we said it would look darker before it looked light. And it's doing that, isn't it? So we all have to just keep bamming the light. Just keep putting out as much light as we can, lighting the world, and just keep lighting the world. Because this is bringing, and God bless the Ukrainian people for doing this, that it's a unifying action to the world that hasn't come with anything before. And we have to send them all our love and everything that we can for what is going on for them. So Serapis Bay wanted to do this lecture today because of that. So let's get going, all right? So we're going to spray our aura clearing. Remember, this just degloms you, right? Gets rid of anything in your aura, clears the room. I call it smudge in a bottle. It just kind of clears your energy field. And I use that, especially when I'm doing sessions, like in between sessions, I'll clear, just to make sure I'm not glommed. It's no big deal. And then the cosmic thrust oil, where we take one drop, and this is a balance and a protection oil. Rub your hands together, bring it up into your aura, and cup your hands together. Let's take that deep breath in together, and let's unify together. And as we're doing this, just again, spread that light to the planet and to each other, that now we connect and we unite. So that's perfect. All right, so let's talk about this. We talked about last time how, or the time before, how the duality of 3D is expected right now. We are still in that duality, but the more we focus the light, the more we bring that heart energy into the collective consciousness, the closer we get to getting to Christ or cosmic consciousness. And we unify in that way. We are not going to be in unity consciousness. We're not ready for that. But gee whiz, this is a big, big step for us to get there, because what we are doing is learning to come from the heart. And we're learning to unify in our hearts with one another and with humanity. The dastardly dudes are not done yet, but they will be soon, because their matrix of duality is just dissolving in front of them. And it will not be successful. And even though it may look horrible and look like they're doing, their same old thing, it will not succeed. Because that matrix is done. We are so done with 3D, and we are developing and building 4D, and it really does put a spotlight on who I call dastardly dudes, or the ones that are holding on to that duality, to that ego-based greed, anger paradigm. While all of us are changing our paradigm into a love-based paradigm. And when we do our meditation, we'll work on that root template again, where we hold in all of the DNA of all of that 3D paradigm, and we dissolve it within ourselves. And in the throat template, which we'll talk about right now, where we have an eraser. And this eraser, let's say you have a bad habit. Welcome to the human race. We all have bad habits. The thing is that you don't want to be addicted to that bad habit. You do not want that bad habit to be forcing you into behavior you do not want. Like, you do not want anger to control you. You want love to control you. You want kindness and compassion. So if you have within you, and certain people have genetic makeups to be more fearful or more angry or worrisome, those are usually the three, and they all come from fear, so they all start with the root. So we want to really clear away within ourselves any old paradigm that is holding us into those lesser than light behavioral characteristics. And we all have them. It isn't anybody who isn't going to have a grumpy day. You're going to have that. Sometimes stuff just doesn't go right, you know? But then what you need to do is bring yourself back into the light. Do your orbit. Do your meditation. You can overcome these old behavioral patterns within yourself. And you can help others by just sending light, sending love. Not white light, yellow light. The yellow light, or the conscious use of power, the opalescent, pearlish colored light. People eat up, yummy like candy. The white light sometimes is too harsh and too demanding for them. It's purifying. And sometimes they're like, well, I don't want to purify, so there. And that's their right. They don't have to purify until they're ready. So when we want to assist someone, we don't demand or command that they should change. We don't demand that people should behave a certain way because we think their behavior is bad. What we do is we send them love through our heart. And this is what Serapis Bey is talking about, sending that love through your heart to dissolve that duality within not only us, but everyone else on the planet. So when you see someone in duality, you don't judge them, you love them. And you say, I understand, I have my stuff too. I have my duality I'm working on too. And I can see your agony right now. So let's send love. Because anyone who is coming from large amounts of anger is actually in agony. And that sometimes we don't understand because they create so much devastation, so much pain and sorrow. We don't understand that that's turned in on them. That's where that is. So we have to be kind, loving, and compassionate to turn that love right back to them so that they can feel better. And when you do conscious use of power, when you do these light techniques, people will feel that love. And they'll be gravitated. They'll want to go towards your shield, towards your golden light, and munch and crunch that juice. They want that. And you let them munch and crunch all they want because it gives them that sustainability. That's our job as light seeds. And we keep that full on, full tilt. And right now, really make sure it's on full tilt because there's also stuff going on the etheric levels of, you know, I've never really talked about entities in these sessions. They're not disembodied spirits, they're not ghosts, but they're actually trapped souls in again, kind of like a fold of a dimension. And they are nasty, and they're not nasty because they particularly are nasty. They are nasty because they got trapped, and that's a whole other story that I can't get into too much today, but it did happen at the beginning of humanity on this planet. It was a real mess up, and it was by a negative ET source. So they're stuck. So when you share the light and you just light up your space, it actually goes through those other dimensions to those trapped beings because they can't have a body. So they're pissed, and you would be too. So what the light workers have been doing is freeing them left and right. And there are so fewer in that plane than there were when I was a child. When I was a child, it was ridiculous how many of those entities were around. Now they're getting fewer and fewer and fewer because they're being freed from that space where they're trapped. So when you wear your shield and when you are the light seed, you are helping not just this level, not just you, not just the person you know or love or care about, but the whole world and other levels as well. Other levels that haven't been able to get to the light. They only want light. And when we tube one of these entities and we whack them with the light, you know, all of a sudden you see them, they go, oh, and they remember their light, and you whack them off to rehab. And they're fine and dandy, and they get to go through their evolutionary process again. They get to be born somewhere, someplace, sometime of their choice. But that's a whole other story, but it's telling you that when we are the light seeds and we are radiating this heart energy, it is affecting so much more than we know on the surface. The most important thing, of course, is that it affects us, is that it changes us. And we work on our little things, our isms, right? Things that make you cranky. Just think about something that makes you cranky and light it up and just put the light on it. Push the light through yourself, bring it up and out, and let it dissolve. So let's work on crankiness today, because that is what's going to bring that heart into unity, because that's what we're after, bringing our heart into unity and dissolving this duality. Will you never feel cranky again when you hold the light 24/7? You'll feel cranky, but it's like that. It's not a big deal. You'll go, oh, I don't feel good today. And you'll laugh and you'll light yourself up because it's not the end of the world and it ain't no big deal. And that's the difference in how you look at these things and how you look at issues that come to you, because you're still on 3D, so it's very thick with karma and with character choices. And although those are, they're condensing and dwindling at the same time. You know, what do they say? The fiercest lions are just before the gate? Is that how it goes?
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. I never do those things right, so you know, whatever. But that's what we're doing right now. We have like the most ferocious lions because we are at the gate to fifth dimensional consciousness, to cosmic consciousness. And you see it growing. You see it growing in the world a lot. Do you see the dastardly dudes fighting to maintain ego power? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's not over yet, but it will start to diminish more and more and more. So let's do it. Let's get ourselves into this heart energy, and Serapis Bey and everyone is really helping us do this, that we bring that energy, that golden light in from source. It comes all the way down through us. And it's that beautiful, yummy, yang, honey-like energy that just sticks and fills every cell, every pore, every part of you, so that you are the first one to get nurtured. You're the first one to be taken care of. And you bring it on down through your body, through your legs, and out your feet into the earth. And the mother says, yippee, so glad you're here. Grabs onto your tether of light. And together, you attach it through the bottom of your feet to that grid system of the mother, which is getting quite thick. She is moving along fantastically. And you're going to feel the effects of the earth going through a lot of roaring and the sun going through some roaring. So you need your tether very, very strong with this. I'm very sensitive to these energies, and I'm always having to like kick my feet into the ground more, because this is not going to stop. So you really need to be aware and make sure you just get yourself kicked in and around the grid, and around you go, and up your back, and back to source, and then back down again. And that mother essence in it, and we're in our orbit now. And when you're in your orbit, it's easier to do this. The more empathic you become, the more sensitive you also become, but please do not be so reactive. You go, check, check, got that. Because I am visually impaired, keep doing your orbit while I'm talking, because I'm visually impaired, my sense of smell and my sense of hearing are very, very acute. So like when I go out hiking, I will smell nuances of things in the air that most people don't discern. And I'll hear around corners, you know, and through walls. I'm also using my etheric counter senses because I don't have this sense of sight. As an empath, you are going to increase those senses. So we want you to be really strong in your orbit. So keep that orbit moving and keep it going, and don't let it come undone. Keep yourself in your shield and in your orbit 24/7. That will help you a lot. Do two things: not fall into a 3D paradigm, and it will also help you to not overreact to your sensitivity. Okay, so now we're going to bring that up, and we're going to waterfall it out your aura to your root aura. Now the root aura has a template in it, and that is all of your 3D definitions, right? All your DNA structures, everything about it. And we are going to go ahead and put lots of light on that 3D structure, DNA structure. What makes a 3D human, right? Because there are aspects of a 3D human and characteristics of a 3D human that we no longer need. We do not have to act out anger, fear, and sorrow. So let's dissolve them in that golden light as we're radiating out this light into our aura. It's making me so hot, wow. And then we go out into the sacral aura, where you know you have Lord Lanto and Lord Katumi talking and talking and talking about us dissolving whatever those aspects of 3D we brought in to work in karmically or whatever in this lifetime, and getting rid of all those dogmas, all those limited beliefs, all those dictates. They need to go bye-bye. Because in 5D, you respond from love, compassion, and kindness. And you don't need a rule book for that. It just is. So then you go out to your third solar plexus, and you go ahead and you bam that power center, not with ego, but with love. And the more we radiate love through our solar plexus, the more it affects the collective consciousness. And those that are having difficulty with these changes, we can help make it easier. That's a light seed. That's what we do. And we bring it out into our heart, so that all that we radiate is that heart energy, that love. And they're like, thank you. That's what I was looking for. It's not in a chocolate cookie or ice cream or sex. It's in that light. It's in the light. Although all those things are good, they're not going to get you home. Okay. All right, Pet's going to give me a look on that one. All right, so now we go into the throat and we express that love in everything that we do, in all that we are, in everything that we see, do, think. Everything has to be void of anger, fear, and sorrow. It's a job for us. I will not say that you will conquer fear because you're wired for fear, you know, because you're actually a prey animal. So you're actually wired for fear until you get a gun, I guess. But anyway, so you're going to have that. But what I say is, I won't tell you I've conquered fear, but I know what to do when it comes in. And you nix, nix, knack, knack, light it up. Okay? So then you bring it out through your throat, and that's all that you show. And when you slip up, what's your mantra? Oops, oh well, light yourself up again, do it again. All right? And then your third eye, where there is no doubt that we are succeeding, and you can really start to see that happening. Is it a dichotomy? Yes. Is it a split? Yes. Will it continue that way for a little bit longer? And then your crown, where you wear your crown, it's just so much fun to wear that crown, as light and as shiny as it can be, just keeping that rotating and rotating and rotating. And you bring that out through the telepathic notch, out into your aura. So you're developing this shield, 18 inches thick, as thick as you can with that golden light, so that anyone and everyone who you come in contact with can munch and crunch that light and work on their stuff too, because you're a light seed, and that's what you do. And you wear this light 24/7, because that's our job. That's all we're being asked to do. The rest of it happens when you wear the light. You don't have to think about it. It's going to happen. No matter how much you think it is or it isn't, it is, and it will. All right, so your job is to just radiate that light. Keep it going onto the earth. Every night I just light up the whole planet with that yummy, yummy light. And be the light seed you so much were born for and wanted to be. So we're so glad you're here and doing your job. I love you, and I will see you next week.